here I am, just over 20 miles into the Kendal Skyline Ultra. A big shout out to the runner who was able to give me some paracetamol before, just to ease the pain in my glute. It's now time to listen to Eddie and maybe a little bit of Gary on the Tea and Trails podcast. Have a good listen.
Are you ready? Who sings that?
Are you ready for
Elton John.
We got some bad news on my ring.
Is it underproductive?
It's oh my God, major biometric signs of distress yesterday. It had like these red flames, but also the battery keeps dying because normally I only have to charge it like once a week.
My it's not too good at the moment. What's it? Oh, it's always like unproductive.
My HRV's been in the red for the last 3 weeks. So I'm like, can you just reset my HRV to that being green?
That's
because it's
incredible.
just become the new norm now that every day.
My hill score, I've got a good hill score, 78, skilled on the hills, but it's trending sideways. I've got a high hill endurance. My hill strength is low.
I'd love to know Garmin's thoughts on that. I'd love to get the Garmin algorithm guy on the podcast and just...
It's going to gamify me. I'm just going to do everything. I'm going to just do loads of hill sessions now. See if that skews the stats. Hello and welcome to the Tea and Trails podcast. This one came in a while ago from Kevin Robinson, about 20 miles deep into the Kendal Skyline Ultra. A classic paracetamol handoff was happening. Anything to quieten down those grumpy glutes. Please keep those intros coming. Email them to hello@teaandtrails.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to you all, runners, car drivers, sitting in the offices. If you're listening to support your partner, we hear that quite a bit. There's always someone, whenever people come up to meet us, there's always the partner standing a like step away, arms folded, pretending that they're like just along for the ride, but we know that they're secretly as invested in the podcast as their partner. You kids, I think what your parents do is mad. Perhaps you'd like to try an ultra one day, though. Your grannies, your grandpas, cookers, cleaners, carers, and your cowboys. We are here to keep you company and know that if you're pondering, there's been a few questions, if you're pondering if you should hit that entry button, what do we say? We say hit it. Put on the trainers. You never regret trying, my friends. Thank you to our patrons for keeping us honest and for making us feel so loved. Join Patreon for a year and you save 10% on your membership. And if you join the legend tier of above, we'll send you a bubble hat too. Go to www.patreon.com/teaandtrails to find out more deets.
Do you store your debit card details in your computer?
It's stored everywhere, all around the house, my phone, like stuck on a post-it note. Never want to be too far away from purchasing something.
It makes buying stuff so much easier. It's dangerous. Thanks to X Miles, Precision Fuel and Hydration, Harriet Trail Running and Phoenix Light UK for sponsoring this week's show. X Miles is a family-owned independent endurance sport retailer that provides nutritional goods, apparel and accessories to help athletes perform and recover at their best. X Miles offer a wide range of high-quality products from leading brands, and their team of nutrition experts, cyclists, runners and outdoor enthusiasts can provide expert advice and guidance to help you reach your goals. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just getting started, X Miles is the perfect place to find everything you need to succeed. It's left over from January's nutrition box. It was the turn of the Voom Pocket Rocket Bar this week.
I've heard good things about these. I've not tried them.
Well, I normally don't mind wrapping my lips around something fruity.
Yeah.
But pink grapefruit, I've got to say, I'm sorry, guys, wasn't for me. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting because, grapefruit, that is on my top 5 foods to avoid list.
If Lisa went, what do you want for breakfast, Gary? You'd never go, oh, do you know what? Let's pop out for some pink grapefruit. No.
What would be your 5 foods?
Very old ladies. What things I'd never eat? Anything fish.
Celery. I'm not a fan of celery. Whiskey.
Celery's a lot.
Olives. Rhubarb.
Olive. Oh, I love a rhubarb. You're not a rooty vegetable sort of guy.
They all taste nasty. Anyway, I got it down. Fueled my session. I have had loads of Voom bars in the past. If you've done one of the 13 valleys, the 7 valleys, the 5 valleys, or 2 valleys, they are a nutrition partner. So there are other flavours out there that do hit the spot.
Are they similar to the Vela Forte blocks or the Precision Fuel Hydration blocks?
No, they have much more of like a crumble, more like, I suppose, a Kendal mint cake. Maybe not as hard as a Kendal mint cake, the old school Kendal mint cake. But yeah, I'm particularly fond of their lemon and lime. Listeners can get 10% store credit at www.xmiles.co.uk via the link in the show notes. And pop over to YouGoku Projects if you would like an awesome Tea and Trails cap. Don't forget, patrons can receive 20% off. Also, all your lovely listeners can enjoy 10% off with the code TTR. 10. If you're looking for all the discount codes, then head over to Patreon, tntrails.com, or check out the show notes where you will find our link tree. Also, stick around to the bitter end if you want to be in with a chance of winning a fabulous Precision Fuel and Hydration bundle. It is an awesome prize, so check it out.
You know, we've done this so many times, Gary. We get the vibes at the beginning of the podcast of how the next hour and a half is going to go. And I've got that slight twitchy. Yeah, I've got that I'm in a maths lesson and I don't really want to be here. No, I don't want to be here in the podcast, but more that I wonder.
What, is this for me? I'm projecting?
No, you're because you keep doing really funny mistakes. So we keep having to start it again. And I just can't stop laughing and not supporting you at all in any way and just being I feel like being a little bit disruptive today.
Disruptor.
The disruptor. How you doing? Last time we spoke, you were riding high off your Saltburn. Incredible. And then I just slyly, silently watch you on Strava for a few days. You did quite well with your recovery. You you didn't rush back.
Yeah, like you say, I'm still riding high. I had such a great time at Hardmills last week and I enjoyed that. Although it wasn't supposed to be a race, I definitely put in more effort than I was supposed to. I enjoyed that sweet, dull sensation that only a big day out can do for your legs.
Or is it someone has smashed your IT bands?
I'm trying my best, Eddie, though, but I'm still waiting for that Freddo sponsor.
Yeah, we did a whole set. Was it about 10 minutes we talked about them last week? Nothing.
Goodness, maybe I should tag them in.
You need to do the clip. Tag them in.
I've got Olympian level detail when I do my race prep. The caramel Freddo, that gives you slightly more carbohydrates than the regular Freddo. But I straight off plan. I wasn't going to do what the Alban app wanted me to do. I said, no, Eddie.
It doesn't give you compliance, though, does it? It's not like my training plans are right for my athletes, and if they don't do something, then it goes red, basically.
You've got 3 graphs. You've got your run impact, you've got your cardiovascular, and you've got your speed graph. They are how it kind of shows your week's progress or lack of progress. And because I straight off plan, all my graphs trended down that week. So it doesn't.
But you'd want them to trend down. We're going to talk about recovery at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And if you're not trending down, how can you recover the week after a race?
Basically, I listened to my body as much as I was tempted to keep kind of satisfying the training plan.
You're also, let's face it, you're not capable of probably doing what it said.
You have a little taper and then you have a recovery week, maybe even 2 reduced weeks. So the easier week doesn't sit well with me, but now it's laser focused for the Northern Traverse. And finally, this is embarrassing, I finally took my Christmas lights down from the house. George gave me a boost. He said, I've noticed other people still have their lights up, Dad, so don't feel too bad about yourself.
I don't even know if we had some in our hedge. I'm not even sure if we have bought those in. Perhaps we should check that.
My neighbour has even started doing his gardening for 2026 already.
Because now's the time to plant your vegetables. So I was
He's got a big bush. He's been trimming his bush. All his borders are trim.
It's time. It is time. If you've let your bush go for a few months because it's winter, now is the time to start a gentle prunage, isn't it?
But is it no cut till May or is it no cut?
We'll have to ask Bryn.
I get a lot of things from running. It's not just the fitness. It does kind of help with how I feel generally.
Routine, feeling every day you've achieved something. And it's tough, isn't it? But it's also really important. And the gains with a Z on the end you're going to make from that race will only be gains with a Z on the end if you let that soak in. But I feel you. Everybody will feel you that it's rubbish then to see the stats trending. See your average mileage. You're like, this
is the first time I've ever done this. I've never been coached. Normally I've just downloaded something from Google or Garmin. There's never been any visible progression like what you would get, say, with the Core Sensor app. You become this heat champion. So I've never had that feedback as I'm going. Struggling with that this week. How about you though? I have seen some action over on...
Yeah, you guys are bad. That was naughty because I hadn't even told Bryn and it was all over the internet.
You could have refused the post. You must have allowed the post.
I didn't allow the post.
Might have been me. Apologies.
Oh, this is awkward, isn't it? I would never have allowed that post. And I even called you out on it and you were like, oh, yeah.
I don't think I allowed all of them.
I did not. Why would I have allowed them? I hadn't told Bryn.
I wouldn't have allowed one unless I'd seen you allow one, so I thought it was okay to allow them.
No, don't gaslight me. I had already passed it by the boss that I could do this, and it had been something that I think we talked about it. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast, but I talked about doing it again next year. And my moral compass, she's not my moral compass at all. Lucy had been my spine compass had been I don't want to do it now. No, Eddie, no, let's sort you out first. first. Yep, so I entered the spine. Have got into it nowadays, even though I was like still slightly like... But, press the button, Gary. Press the button. If I didn't press the button then...
I wonder if they'll do a ballot in the future.
I got straight in. I was dead lucky because it sold out straight away. But I was it was so funny because I am coaching, I think, almost half the women's field as well, which I'm super mega proud of. I had like all my athletes sending me pictures and stuff of the button of the countdown.
I've said loads of times the spine race just doesn't do anything for me, but I just love how there's something for everybody in this sport. You can go and do a lung busting 5 mile up and down fell race, or 78 miles, 68 on the Pennine Way.
I've got some really good friends that are doing it too, so it's going to be fun, the training, which I think is half the like getting out with the old rucksack. We've already had a few. We've already had a few coffee mornings over kit and seeing if I can get it under 3 kilograms. And it's all for you guys. What great content of poor Eddie going for a very long walk again in January.
We're hurtling towards the Northern Traverse, and it is really fun at the moment. I had such a blast at the weekend, and all the recce's I've done have been wonderful, solo and with friends. When does it go from fun to, oh shit?
Pretty much when you hit Ennerdale. You do about 20 miles and then you go, oh God, I'm a bit tired. Did you get any workouts done then?
The workouts that the Alban app had planned were 3 times 10 minutes, 3 times 10 minutes and 2 times 5 minutes and a steady run. So I ditched the 3 times 10 minutes and 2. So it was 3 10s, then 2 5s. I ditched that altogether. And I just did the steady run and I ramped the treadmill up to, maybe 10%. So I was a dripping mess. Good vert,
nice.
But oh, what a sight. I was mindful I wanted to basically knock all the impact out of the run. So that's what I did. So give my heart rate and my glutes a good workout. And that's it. Not a lot to share. I do want to do that 3 times 10 minutes and then 2 times 5 minutes. Maybe we'll see. But I just wasn't. I knew I wasn't ready for that. I was cooking up a big run on Sunday. I needed to keep some matches for that. What about you? Yeah, because you were racing.
I wasn't racing. It all got out of hand. So I was down to do the Falkirk 6-hour Ultra Trail, I think it was called, on Saturday, which I entirely was using as my long run. When would we be able to go out and run 6 hours by ourselves? To me, that is like, especially at the moment, because as we know, the bridge is down on my long run route, so I can't get onto the moors without driving, basically. And 6 hours long run by yourself. To be honest, I find it really hard to get the time. So I had this in the plan to do, but I totally underestimated it, and I was like, I'm just going to train into it. So I also come off the recce week. Then I had a huge recovery week because I was absolutely exhausted. And then I picked it straight back up. Legs were okay, but they weren't like, every workout was a little bit of a grind. But I did do 2 workouts, but the fall of these workouts was so imperfection. So I did a longer grind, longer the better for me. 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes at 10%. That empties your quads. I find it harder on the quads than on the glutes. You talk about your glutes when you do uphill. Because it was at 10%, it's that much slower. You really can watch terrible television all the way through that. Once I moved to 8% in 5 minutes, the noise of my feet is a little bit too loud to follow the dialogue. But that one, I just watched TV for, I think it was about an hour and a quarter.
Are you still in that not quite zone 4?
Yeah. I'm zone 3. I'm nowhere near zone 4. Yeah. I'm just like grinding it. Just a good old sweaty mess. But there's no breathing, no heavy breathing. There's just like, if you're running with mates, you probably go quiet. You know, when you all go quiet when you start running off a hill. And then I wanted to do a little shorter one. I did want to get some heartbeats in for the week. Wanted to do it on the Thursday to give me, then I was going to have Friday off before the 6-hour race. It all ended up basically I drove for about 4 hours on Thursday evening, picking up, dropping off kids. So I missed a lot of snacking opportunities and I missed my workout on Thursday as well. So I thought, I'll do it on Friday morning. This will be fine because I'll take the edge off my legs. I won't be then tempted to race. So then I did, funnily enough, the same session that you were meant to do, but I did 2 by 10 minutes and 2 by 5 minutes, 2 by 10 minutes, sort of like steady build, and then 2 by 5 minutes. I actually did those really hard. I was proper going for that. It's sort of a little test as well to see what my legs were like. And I felt good. I think it was under an hour worth of workout. And then I went and met Fiona, same place at the Spine, for coffee and some eggs. Got all the Spine gossip. I normally don't do 2 workouts in the week. and I was also doing this race. So it was 4.5. I kept thinking of people doing backyard ultras as well. It was a 4.5, like like a funny sort of figure of eight course that I had no idea how far away I was from like the tent until the end, when I was like, I actually never got more than like half a mile away from the tent, because you were like figure of eighting through these woods. You didn't have any idea where you were going. And I had about 300 foot per lap. I love races like this. I just had my co-op bag with 6 bottles in. I took like 15 gels and a few solidy stuff bits if I wanted them, 2 cans of Coke, and I just put my co-op bag on this table, and that was it. That was checkpoint. And then I wore my pack because I wanted to eat and drink throughout. Lots of people didn't, and they just stopped at their bag. Didn't take my pulse. I did think, shall I carry my pulse race? Imagine the comments. Every time I'd have run past someone, they'd have been like, why have you got a pulse? Anyway, it was I think I had enough of that. Anyway, it was like a sort of hard pack trail, muddy. There were a few corners that were really muddy, but because we did it so many times, I got really good at like taking the line of the corner where you didn't need to slow down. And if you just went like right in next to the tree and just were the wanker shouting on the left, you could like get through where the line everyone had taken. It was really muddy. You could sort of cut through. That was probably the highlight of most of the laps. Everybody was caked in mud at the end, but that's more just to do with the like water. But a lot of it was quite good hard pack trail as well. There were 2 hills, one straight out the gate. You sort of ran along the road, and then you hit this like long grind where you could just see. Loved it, Gary. Oh, I loved that. Just seeing people, and after like 3 or 4 laps, everyone's walking, Eddie's grinding. I was like, no walking. So that was a long grinder, fine. Then you had a lovely downhill. Then you started working back up the hill. You sort of came up the other side of it basically, and that was quite, I mean, you wouldn't call it steep normally, but after like 35 miles, I was like, this is my nemesis. I was a great volunteer at the top of that, because you saw the volunteers, because you were like looping round. Like some of the volunteers you saw like 3 times a lap. Like I ended up quite close relationship with some of them. I felt like some of them would be on my Christmas card list. The guy at the top of this hill, and he was making everybody run up it. And then like second to last lap, he was like going with his heart at me. So I turned my music off and I was like, what? Sorry. And he was like, oh, I was telling you I love you and you're doing amazing. I said, I thought you were telling me I was having a heart attack, because I was going up this hill. I could not know how people do backyard ultras on like a flat course, because I love the hill. So it was a relay race and it was like a solo race. I think there was a lot of solo runners in it as well, but that made it a bit tricky, because very occasionally, once we were into it, people would come past running like beautifully, and you'd be like, am I doing really
I hate a
badly?
relay
Because,
race.
yeah, you look so fresh and like bouncing along, and sort of by about 4 hours in, you could sort of tell the people that were in there for the grind and the relay. There was a definite difference in us. So there was 5 hours on this hilly lap course, and then after 5 hours you moved on to I think it was just over a K lap around through all the gazebos round this lake. It was pretty flat on concrete, and then you ran that for an hour, and you could do as many. So if you're in the relay team, people were doing 1K reps basically and then handing over, and I thought, I don't want to run that for an hour. No, I'm not. No. So I got back after 5 hours, but it was like 4 hours 55 or something, and they were like, you can still go out on the big course. And I was like, hell yeah. Even though I thought it's harder, I'm not going to get as far because it's hillier and muddier. I would prefer to do that than run around this 1K loop. 2 bad things that happened. My toe went through my sock, my big toe, my bloody sock. It's my own fault because I wear my socks down. And as I left, I could see a little hole in the top of the sock, but I had to leave the house at
We
like
just spoke to Tonya
5:30.
last week.
And I was like, if I go back upstairs and look for socks, you'll all know this as parents, the danger element of waking somebody up is quite high. And I was like, I think that sock will last. Very quickly, my toe came through the sock. The whole of my big toe was totally blistered. I stopped once on a bench and I tried to turn the sock around so that the other toes were through the I didn't have any spare socks. They were back in the car, but it wasn't so bad that I was going to stop. I mean, I should have, because I was like, you could wipe out the next few weeks with a massive blister. But I was like a spaniel, Gary. Once I got the fact that I had a bib number on, I was like, it's fine. So I had to stop twice to try and sort this out. And it really affected my downhill running because it really hurt, which annoyed me. But again, I was like, Eddie, chill out. The blister popped at about 5.5 hours. That was delicious. And it's all dried up. It is what it is.
I've had blisters on races miles, but it's never stopped me after the race, like to train the following week.
Yeah, the pain in the race is awful. It's like
10 out of 10.
It's like, but then actually the next week it's all dried. I've let it dry out. Oh, sorry, Tonya. I ran it faster, Gary, basically than I wanted to. I was like, don't go over 150 at the start. You know, I know this seems really high for you, but it's not high for me. Don't go over 150. And I know I can hold 155 like for a long, long time. That I can hold that. So I was like 150, but I want your average heart rate to be about 140. But I like the first 10 miles. I don't know why I was fine. I'm quite anxious. My heart rate's high, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
So I let it settle. And then average heart rate was 145. So I was quite proud of that. I would have liked it a few beats lower. It was a little bit like 2 or 3 beats higher than I wanted it to be. So I thought I'll do about 50, 55K and I'll either stop or I'll just go slower so that, of course, I got to about 4.5 hours and Deb's turned up to give, there's a couple of Wild Heart runners, not just me. I like to think she just came for me, but there were a couple of Wild Heart runners there. We sat on the bench while I sorted my sock out and I was like, Deb's, I've done like 33, 34 miles. And I was like, I think that's enough. Eddie, this is a 6-hour race. What are you doing? You get back out there and run for 6 hours. You've not come here to run for 4.5 hours. And I was like, yeah, the whole reason I came was to run. The fact that I didn't pace this very well and probably went off faster than I needed to. So I was like, yeah, you're right. She's like, just do one more lap. Get some gels on you, you'll be fine. She said, I'll stay. I'll watch you come in the next lap. And I thought, I know she's going to watch me come in the next lap because she's going to send me off on another lap. I'm not stupid, Debs. This isn't my first. But it's exactly what I needed. Just when you have that moment of like, I just needed an outside voice to go.
Yeah. So do you think without Debs, you would have kind of sacked it off?
Maybe. No, I don't think so, Gary. I'm such a racer. I just love it. And so that's why I never, ever can do a training race again. People that do backyard ultras, I mean, kudos to them because I don't cap, but I think I did 9 laps of this, maybe 8, 9. Didn't Sarah do like 200 or so? Oh my God.
Crazy.
Anyway, I finished my last big lap with 5.5 hours go, which meant I only had half an hour on the, no, it wouldn't be half an hour, 20 minutes left on the on the 1K lap. This was an incredible experience. So maybe there were like 200 people in the race, everybody on this 1K lap, plus it's just an open park, dog walkers, people on scooters, people on bikes. And I was trying to like, my legs now, I'd got to 40 miles and my legs were like starting to like, I couldn't change direction very quickly.
like a slow tanker moving in one direction.
And I came up behind these 2 women and I was like, on your right, no left, no, okay, I'm just going to go through the middle. I think I ended up running 4K on that course and I came around with 5:55 on the clock. And so if you don't finish your lap, you don't get that timed, you don't get that count. So he was like, you've got 5 minutes to do one more lap. And I was like, just give it to me, baby. Put the tunes on. I turned them up as loud as I could, took my last caffeine gel and smashed around, came in with like 20 seconds to spare, but everybody was standing in the finish because I think you had to go over the thingy to make it like the relay team people to make it all count. I don't know why, but they were all standing right at the finish. So I passed the timing chit thing and then I just had to stop completely dead and stand in a crowd of people and my legs just went and my blood pressure just went. And I was like, oh my God. You know, when you just need to walk, I was like, I can't stand still. Yeah. And I was like leaning on this woman. She was like, do you need to lean on me? And I was like, do you mind? I don't know what I feel. Then you had to climb over this tape with all these, with like tied to cones. And I was like, I can't but everyone else seemed fine. And I was like, am I the only one that's just like buried myself? And then there's nowhere to sit. So I had to sit. Oh, it was my poor little legs. That last like 15 minutes I went to a place. I would never do that in a training run by myself. No way would I ever run at that heartbeat.
I think that's why races are special. And then also that perceived effort. I think that effort on a training run would feel horrendous.
Couldn't do it. Horrendous. Yeah. I am always like, where do I find this ability to run this pace that on a long run I'd be like, too fast. As I went off as well, and I thought, as I started, and I was like, actually, legs, they were smashed, Gary. They were not feeling like bouncy fresh, but great training stimulus, because that is what they're going to feel like for 150 miles of the Northern Traverse. But I was like, you're going to need to really fuel this because they're not fully loaded. So I really fueled really well. 13 gels, 4 bottles of electrolyte and carb drink. Plus, I then did a Gemma, Hillier Moses. I took a bottle of Coke and downed that. Oh my God. God, that is my new secret weapon, Gary.
Oh, it's a
I
spot,
put it
doesn't
in
it?
the side. It hit. Oh my God, I felt that is when The Greatest Showman came on. So I was really happy. I had one moment when I thought, I really don't
Well,
want to
yeah,
gel.
I was going to ask this because 6 hours, that's a significant time to be out on your feet. And I think for me, historically, that's when I start kind of getting a bit queasy, and you're running an effort.
I was so happy. I had one moment. I should mention my lovely friend Fee, who's in the World Hot Runners. We saw each other 3 or 4 times, and she always gave me massive cheers and love. And I ran past her and I was like, oh, I don't feel so good. And she was like, you'll feel better soon, Eddie. You'll feel better. And that's like, I will feel better soon. So I gave myself like about 20 minutes when I was like, fine, just don't eat anything. Just sip. Just let it go. Just let it pass. And it did totally pass. I mean, I had so much. I had to wash my vest. It was disgusting. I had so many gels. I was really proud of myself. So much caffeine. So that was good. And I felt fine. And I was fine afterwards. I didn't have any sick or anything. So yeah, really happy. I've not run that hard for that long, maybe like 2 years. So I was happy, like, though the physical, I definitely could have done better physically, but mentally, to put myself back in that, like, and I'm so pleased Debs was like, Eddie, get back out there and do the actual end of this work. Don't just do the actual easy bit. Get back out there and do that last bit of grind. I'm so glad I did that last bit of grind when I was like, I do love this. Gary, is there anywhere better when you're going to finish something, you're in the last like hour, last like 10K, you are in the hurt locker, but you're present and you're in control of all the gears and your steering wheel, and I say, and you can push after everything that's been rubbish the past like year to actually go smash the nutrition, feel good, deal with the voice going, oh, I don't want to do this, to go, you shut up. Let's get going, and come away with like, fine. It wasn't anything to come home and be like, I mean, the kids didn't even. I was like, do you want to hear about my race? They're like, why are you walking like that? And I was like, I went
We
to
didn't
do
get
a
any
race.
banners.
And they were like,
no banners, no cheer squad.
just why are you walking like that was all I got. The drive home was a bit emosh, but I get really cross with Bryn for all his car door snacks because they make such a mess. Never have I been so happy to have a bag of salted peanuts, eclairs.
Oh, Bryn.
Those Reese cookie, chocolate peanut cookie things. I don't care, Gary. They all went down. So I'm really glad I did it, but I also reminded myself that if I'm going to do a training race, even if it is a training race, be kind to yourself.
There's a
and
price
have a
to
little
pay.
taper.
There's
a price.
I think we both had a good couple of weeks then with hard mowers, then your race this week. Fantastic. I think the future is these 4 to 6 hour races.
I think mine was about probably an hour too long because it really was. Sunday was emotional in that, like, I felt just my legs were so sore. But I think that is as well as getting in the car straight afterwards and then sitting in the car for like an hour and a half. I'd just like to say a big thank you to Trailspire Ultra, who organised the event. Awesome event. Love these races that you can drive to. And also a big love to everybody who ran the relay and who ran individual, especially the lovely listeners. I saw a couple of bobble hats out on the course. I got some nice cheers from Scott Brown. He was out supporting some of his athletes. Quite a few listeners as well. I ran past, and lots of love and cheers. Really, I mean, somebody saying good job, well done. And then I missed the podium at the end, Gary, because I was chatting to lots of lovely listeners, and we were talking about our races and stuff, and there was nowhere to get changed, so I wanted to get warm, so I just, everyone was talking to me, I just took all my clothes off. I was like, I'm really sorry, you're gonna see stuff, but I left my sports bra on, but I just had Finley's like dry robe. I looked like a tramp, and then we were chatting away, and I suddenly heard my name, and the girls were waiting on the podium for me, but I couldn't get up on the step, Gary. I can't do it. Why is no one else so sore? Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. It's always good. Loved it. Loved seeing all you guys out there crushing it, and all the cheers as well. It meant a lot. Big kisses.
Thanks, Phoenix Light, for sponsoring Brew with the Coaches. The best design comes from the actual needs of users. Phoenix takes providing mobile lighting products with excellent performance as the goal, and born for harsh environments as its mission. Never forget why you started, and your mission can be accomplished. Head over to www.phoenixlight.com tntrails.co.uk to find out more. If you've got a question for the coaches, then just head over to tntrails.com and follow the link to the coaches contact form. And also, because of the way we record the show, we might not get to your question before your race or when your injury clears up or whatever situation you're dealing with. But don't worry, we may still cover it in future episodes, especially if it's something our listeners might connect with. And don't forget, patrons can enjoy 10% off, and all you lovely listeners get 5% off with the code TNT5. All the discount codes are either in the description, Linktree, or Patreon. We have a winner. They've not been in touch, Eddie. I've sent them a DM. I could DM them. I said last week I could. Yeah, I didn't think I could. Maybe they've unblocked me. Maybe that's what it is. We have a winner. First off, thanks to Phoenix Light for providing the prize. This competition was so popular. Yeah, like we said last week, over 700 comments. The winner of the HM55R head torch from Phoenix Light UK is Annette Slater. 1234. Annette, please check your DMs. I've been diagnosed with a torn meniscus, anterior lateral horn, and it's really frustrating because I love running. My NHS physio has advised me to stick to road running when I'm eventually able to run again. I cried when I heard that. But then I got an email that gave me a huge lift. I've been accepted into the Lakeland 50. It's a dream bucket list race for me. Before this injury, I'd completed the UTS 50, UTS 100k, GB Ultra events, and various fell races. Right now, I can just about manage a 3-mile hike, but afterwards, my injured knee becomes stiff and uncomfortable again. This is 11 weeks after the tear. Do you have any suggestions, or should I give up my Lakeland place and the idea of ultra, fell and trail running all together? This sounds like you're really struggling. There's a few heartbreaking sentences in there too. Any hope, Rebecca, for this listener?
Yeah, I can definitely hear the pain coming through on that question and the frustration, and it's really, really difficult for anyone facing an injury, but definitely so when they fear that injury then risks their future running career, which appears to have been sort of alluded to by professionals who are involved in your care. So I'm really sorry that you've had to go through the injury and then you're struggling with that rehab and recovery as well. I think it's very rare that we would say to people, they will never run again at any point in the future. And I think type of running is something, again, which I wouldn't particularly say, if you can only do one type of running, like on the road, and you can't do trail running, that would be unusual as well. We see lots of people in the role that I do, rehabbing them back from all manner of injuries, particularly meniscus injuries, very common. Not entirely clear how it happened in your case, whether or not it was an acute injury or whether or not there's some longer lasting damage there or ongoing damage, or a series of injuries in the past. But generally the principles are the same. Some of it's caveated by what type of treatment you've had. For example, if you've been through surgery, recovery might be different depending on the type of surgery particularly as well. But assuming you've had an injury which is just being managed, what we say conservatively with rehab, the focus of the early phase, and you're still in that really 11 weeks after the tear, is very much sort of protecting the knee but also improving the strength around the knee, and that's what's going to be the building block going forwards. And it's that strength and conditioning piece which will really sort of dictate how your knee feels and what you're able to do with that knee long term. And I think getting some good advice now on how to rehab it with the goal of running in mind is really important. And I think sometimes you need that bespoke management plan from someone who deals with knees very much in the context of people who are trying to return to higher level activities. So if you've got the ability to see somebody privately for physio who comes from a sports background and deals with sports people and athletes, then that's probably going to put you in a better position, I think, to understand the injury, understand the limitations that are on you now, but also understand the realistic proposition of you getting back to running. And I think with an injury like that, 11 weeks in, we would not be saying to people that they couldn't return to running of any type. You would very much want to get through that process of rehab and recovery and see where you are. At the moment, if you're doing a hike and it's causing some stiffness and discomfort afterwards, I think it's just about sort of modifying that and looking at the terrain that you're going over, looking at what you're doing with the knee, and really focusing your efforts now on that sort of strength and conditioning, that real specific work that your physio can take you through, and take some really good advice. They'll be able to pick up the deficits that you might have, the areas to work on, and also they'll be able to take you through those return to run parameters. So we've got very clear ideas about how strong and that sort of thing you need to be before it's advisable to run. So having some oversight to that is going to be the key bit. And if hiking is currently painful, I think it's looking at alternative CV stuff. So cycling is probably a useful one. Indoor bike is really useful in this phase to keep that cardio stuff going, something mentally for you as well. But walking in the hills, again, if that helps mentally, that's important. But not aggravating the injury, doing the strength and conditioning, not worrying about the sort of advice you've been given so far, every expectation that you hopefully will be able to get back to running in the format that you want to do would be my take on that as a general rule, obviously without knowing the specifics of your injury.
So many runners have been in a similar situation. Find out who other people have worked with, positive people that have worked with professionals that then, but with an injury like this, you really need someone to have your back, don't you? Because there is an element, isn't there, of pushing the injury. You've got to go like push to your pain limit, push to that swelling, right? That's as much as I can do today, back off, ice, and someone go, that's right. That's kind of what you have to do, isn't it? That you kind of like, and then be able to help you with the cross training and there's a lot of elements in this. But I would definitely say with anything, if your physio isn't saying what, helping you support, that's the role of the physio. The physio is there to help you get back to what you want to do. And I would have thought it should be absolute. We've tried everything last ditch to tell somebody they can't do what they love to do. So I would put it out there, find somebody that's had a very similar thing in your area and see who they've worked with, and then invest in a Swift bike, because I think building your quad strength is key to this as well, and unloading the knee, and you can get yourself super fit on Zwift, even though it's brain numbing. But there's loads of Netflix out there.
Should I give up on the idea of ultra, fell and trail running? No,
Never.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've had a torn meniscus. I've had so many injuries. 3 times I've been told you won't be able to do long distance running again. This time last year, I was just coming back I had a really bad knee injury. I remember around Christmas time, just before I came back to the UK, I did 30 minutes on the bike and I was moaning to my friends because it hurt. And I was like, I'm never gonna be able to run again. What's going on? Why can't I run? And it's the 9 times out of 10, the biggest thing I've learned through injury, and I've had some really big injuries, is time. You've got to give it time and you've got to be patient. And that's really, really hard. But fill that time with, things that you can do. If it's helping other people, then focus on that. But you've got to give it the time. And secondly, don't give up. Always have that faith. Like I said, Christmas last year, I was just coming back. I couldn't do 30 minutes on the bike without, having some kind of pain. And then January 26th, I've literally just come off doing winter FKT.
She's basically saying she's a hero.
Yeah.
What a flex.
You can be a hero too. You can be a hero too.
You can be a hero too. My only thing with this is when you have a big injury and then you get the email to say, I've entered the race, giving your injury a timeline is a very dangerous, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment, for failure, for pushing and never letting it fully recover and settle. And we've all been there when we're like, well, it needs to be better by April the 17th. Well, of course, your body doesn't know that April the 17th is the deadline. So I would say that race isn't going anywhere. And there are hundreds of other races. And as much as it's a dream and you'd like to think in a perfect Disney world, I'd be better for it and I'd go out and smash it, I would almost shelve that, use it as a little bit of motivation, but you've got to listen to the body, and we can't let the race dictate your comeback. It has to be physio and body led as well. And I know that no one ever wants to hear that, but that is totally the truth. And we've all done it and tried to rush back.
100% agree. You've got to, I would not take on the Lakeland place. I would totally focus on giving your body the time it needs to recover, but know that you will recover. You're going to get there.
And then you go back to that physio and you spam them with various shots of you descending off Kidsey Pike.
Crushing souls. You will get there. You will get there. Just give it the time. It's all possible. Just give it the time.
I think that's the hard thing, isn't it? The patience. Because, if you rush it or don't listen to the whispers or screams to do this Lakeland place, you could be losing so much more time running.
And I think, Rebecca, would you agree that knees are slow? They're a slow process.
They are, and they feel better, and then you do too much and then they feel worse again. So it's like any injury. The temptation is always to do more. And I think it's absolutely getting that balance between what is an acceptable level of irritation and flare within the knee and when do you need to back off. And that especially, I think, is getting that specialist physio advice, particularly, to really guide you through that programme, because our temptation will always to be try and smash through it. And sometimes you can't, and it just takes that patience.
And with knees as well, sometimes they can feel fine, and then it's the next day, or it's when you get home, you get out the car and you're like, oh, it's the size of a watermelon, I've pushed too far. And it's all learning. And that's why, again, with an injury like this, it is learning as well. And so don't beat yourself up as well if you do, it's all a process. Keep a diary. I always say that with injuries as well, as like, if you have a training plan that you have with your coach, you write your own training plan, keep a daily diary of how you're feeling, what worked, what didn't as well. So that is training as well as looking at the progress.
Thanks, Harrier Trail Running, for sponsoring our Strava Club and Tales from the Trails. Harrier is the UK's fastest growing brand for trail runners, providing specialist kit designed for superior fit, comfort and function with the best customer support. Check them out for race vests, waterproofs, poles and other trail essentials. If you're after waterproof trousers or a jacket, then you are in luck. The Exmo 2.5 layer jacket and Dartmoor trousers, they nearly vanished on their first run and people love the new style. Anyway, Harrier are about to restock them just in time because this filthy weather seems to be determined to stick around. Head over to www.harrierunfree.co.uk and don't forget you can save 10% with the code TEAS10, or if you're feeling fancy, check out their brilliant trail bundles for up to 20% off.
I took my Exmoor 2.5 jacket for a lovely 6-hour run in my backpack on the trails, but I wore my merino top. I think there was a lot of comments about the guns in that top. It's got great anti-chaffing. It keeps you super. If anything, I was like I had 3 layers on when I started, and I had to take them all. That's why I ended up carrying so much in my pack. It keeps me so warm, but also it makes your arms look sensational. Just the right tightness over the biceps. So if anything else,
might be a little bit too tight. That's all I'll say.
You're always an extra small guy. I won't have that.
What did I have on my run at the weekend? So I ran with my Thor base layer. I tried my Harrier Helvellyn poles. I tend to ignore the poles, but I'm going to lean on them big time in the Northern Traverse.
Oh, they are going to be. You're going to name them. You're going to become so intimate with them. Those
my arms are going to be screaming. I remember after Lake 100 one year, I had serious DOMs on my shoulders because I hadn't really prepped for the for the poles, and also I had my Pro jacket too. I didn't have the Exmo 2.5 layer. I had my Pro jacket, but yeah, all worked incredible. Also, Harrier have an incredible competition at the moment. If you enter this competition over at harrierrunfree.co.uk, you could win a £1,000 luxury spa stay for you and your other half or your trail buddy. To enter, just head to www.harrierrunfree.co.uk and pop your email into the pop-up box that appears. Harrier will pick a winner at the end of February. I've seen, I don't know why, Championese spas are on my radar. I've spent an unhealthy amount of time on their websites.
Do you want to go together?
Oh,
yeah, I can see us in those dressing gowns.
I think I'd feel a bit uncomfortable somewhere fancy, but a grand, my goodness me, that's going to be absolutely incredible. Yeah, get into it.
Have you ever been to a spa, Gary?
There's a hotel near us called Rockcliffe Hall, which is quite bougie. Yeah, I got some vouchers for a birthday present.
I don't think they would want our toenails in the spa.
That's it, yeah. It's funny, if I see somebody's grim feet, I'm not judging, I think they're a runner. First up on the Strava Club is James Alexander, 65.1 miles for the week, 18-mile long run and 4,636 feet of vert. Consistent running from James, but he refuses to name any of his runs. Not even a cheeky emoji or any pics, nothing. He's been hitting the gym, took on Escape to Meridian back in November, and he's part of the Soar Running Strava group, which tells me one thing: this man likes bougie kit. I bet you look incredible, James. Nikki Bass Molholm from Denmark up next, 94.1 miles for the week with the longest run of 16.2 miles and 1,873 feet of vert. Fluent in Danish, Eddie. Hey me here, Nikki. Guess what that is?
Oh, you're going to need to help me out.
Hello. Simple.
Oh, it sounds like something you hear when I've been watching the curling.
That's going to get us cancelled. The reach of this podcast. Big ears expand, crushing those treadmill miles and a bit on the bike. Cheeky pyramid session and a progression run. And of course, no Strava gallery is complete without dog pictures. And Nikki absolutely delivered there. 94 miles for the week. That is a shift. Dunstan Gibson up next, 61.9 miles for the week with the longest run of 34.86 miles and 6,283 feet of vert. Heavy flex alert. We've got the Harrogate Hustle V50 champ himself. And I'm ashamed to admit I did a bit of digging and discovered he's doing the Punk Panther Welcome Way on the 14th of March, which just so happens is a race that I've entered too. But luckily for me, he's not doing the same distance, and there's still time to enter, actually, if you fancy some fun around Otley. Last up in the Strava Club.
This is ridiculous. This is not real.
Alistair tops the charts. There's a lot of cycling involved here too, but either way, 233.6 miles for Alistair Courtney with the longest run of 33.6 miles and 11,127 feet of vert. It's not the first time for Smoking Fast Alistair. He has popped up on our Strava Club a few times. His dedication to training is unreal, and he's fully embraced the run commute life too. It's great to see all that hard work paying off with countless podiums and wins under his belt, and 2026 is off to a flyer too. He recently grabbed second at the Country to Capital.
Classic.
Got some race results. Punk Panther Harrogate Hustle last weekend. I've got the Ultra Marathon results here. James Allen took the win with a course record breaking time of 4 hours, 28 minutes and 29 seconds. Absolutely flying. And just behind him, previous guest of the show, John Harris, grabbed second in a time of 4 hours, 50 and 46 seconds. But John couldn't relax for a second because Tom Murphy Beard was hot on his heels, finishing in 4 hours, 52 minutes and 1 second. Was John running scared or was he running strong? We may never know. Another ridiculously tight podium this week for the ladies. Claire Reid took the win, 5 hours, 54 minutes and 4 seconds. And just 6 seconds later, Caitlin Rowett came flying over the line too. Steph Lishman rounded off the podium and casually bagged first V50 female and a new V50 course record for the ladies too. Incredible running by everybody. This week's Heavy Flex has to go to Chris Green. I'm so happy and proud to tell you that the Rhino has officially climbed all the way to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. We made it to the top of Africa and we are feeling absolutely on top of the world. This has been one of the toughest challenges I've ever taken on, but I can't think of a better place to stand up for nature and give everything I've got for conservation than right there on the roof of Africa. I've got loads to share with you over the next few days about this life-changing adventure to help save the Rhino, but for now I want to say a huge thank you to the amazing friends who shared this journey with me, to the incredible expedition leader Matt Lavoie and the whole MLMG Trek and Expedition team. Thank you for believing in the Rhino and getting us safely to the summit. To our brilliant guides, porters and the kindest support crew you could ever hope for. To Save the Rhino International, thank you for your constant inspiration and for everything you do for my favourite animal. To Tanzania National Parks for protecting this spectacular place and welcoming the Rhino and me with open arms. To the St Mary's Hospice team who I climbed alongside. You moved me, motivated me and kept me going every single day. And finally, thank you to every one of you for reading this. Knowing you're behind me makes all the difference. This whole adventure proves one thing: anything is possible when you're surrounded by love. All caps, Save the Rhino.
I loved our chat with Chris. Oh, it was just
good energy. Good guy.
Oh, he was such a good guy. Well done, Chris. That is amazing. I feel bad I whined earlier about my toe, but
it was great, the little piece on BBC Breakfast he had his Rhino suit there. That's a life goal, actually, to get on the... Well, more of a life goal to meet Naga Manchetti, to be honest, than the BBC Breakfast sofa.
Oh, you like a bit of Naga, do you? She's good, isn't she?
Tales from the trails.
Hey, I just wanted to drop you a note about how much I love the podcast. I got back into running this year after around 3 to 4 years on and off running, following my complete loss of motivation to train during the dreaded COVID times. I discovered your podcast by chance. The name says it all. I love the trails and I love tea. After running my first 3K of the year back in April, I got the bug again. I wanted to do more than my body really allowed. That's what the podcast should be called. I want to do more than my body allows. I swiftly entered a 10K road race, then a 10K trail, and finally entered Ultra X England 50K. I knew this was going to be a big challenge with 1,900 metres of elevation over 50K in the Peak District. The race was one of the toughest days I've ever endured, and I've completed several half Ironmans. I love that. Just a quiet brag there. With 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, torrential downpours, and a dreaded ITB injury 20K in. I was only able to continue with the encouragement of other runners, the volunteers at the aid stations, and that desire to finish. As part of this challenge, I was raising money for the Candlelights Trust, a children's cancer charity based based in Leeds. Having had leukemia myself, this charity is close to my heart. Knowing I was going to make a difference to those suffering the same way I once did was enough motivation to complete the race no matter what. 2 weeks on, I'm sat here still with a grin on my face, knowing what I've achieved, and I believe it shows that anyone can complete an ultra if they want it enough. Your absolutely brilliant podcast has got me through so many tough training sessions with your hilarious anecdotes that we can all relate to the inspirational stories of other members of this fantastic trail running communities. Please continue to do what you do. And Eddie, stop messing with Gary's spreadsheet. Now it's time for tea and cakes. Kindest regards, Andy.
Andy's also on the start line for the GB Ultras, Chester 50 and the Pennine Barrier 50 this year. And I met Andy at the National Running Show the other week, and he showed some concern for my blistered nuts. Salt of the earth, Andy.
Did you show them to him?
Straight in.
Yeah, straight in. It's fine now. It's all here. We love your tales from the trails, heavy flexes and birthday shout-outs. Please email them to hello@teaandtrails.com, and don't forget to put heavy flex, tales from the trails or birthday as the subject.
Thanks, Precision Fuel and Hydration, for bringing us home. Their website and newsletters are such good source of knowledge, articles to read, and YouTube content to binge on too. On YouTube, you can learn how to fuel an ultramarathon, what pro runners carry on race day, and how to nail your marathon prep. Precision Fuel and Hydration's handy free online sweat test and nutrition planner will help you personalize your hydration and fueling strategy so you can perform at your best. I'm curious how your nutrition strategy went at your 6 hour run, but for me, I did 6 hours, super easy trails. The temperature was cool, so I would have been surprised if I had any dramas. But for the record, I fueled it on Precision Fuel and Hydration drink mix. I actually drank some on the way and on the way home. I had some chews, some gels, Freddo, and some good old fashioned Rice Krispie bars too.
I was working a little bit harder than you on Saturday, 6 hours for me as well. And once I started and I realised that my legs were they were flowing okay, I upped my fuel actually, because I'd sort of planned for about 70. And then I thought, actually, I think I need to be 90. And I reckon because I had the carb and electrolyte drink in my bottles and I had 2 gels an hour, every 2 hours, I took a Precision Fuel Hydration gel with caffeine as well. And I took my bottle of Coke at the end as well. So I reckon I must have been near on 100 grams of carb, probably 1,000 milligrams of sodium. I was hot, even though it wasn't, if you just add that, it's amazing, isn't it? And it just shows you as well that when we do these longer races, you cannot go to that place. You can't break a sweat, basically, because your fueling needs just change drastically. But I loved the flex I had in that. So the first 4.5 hours, I was ticking along quite well, and then as I sort of did slightly take the foot off the gas a little bit, nothing to do with sore legs, just mindfulness, I was like, I don't actually need to keep that level of carb going in, but I did anyway because I wanted to walk away with it, and not that I could walk away from it.
Does it feel like you're constantly eating and drinking though?
You had to be really on it. I had to be it's so easy to not do it because it's a chore. It's energy to get into your pack and get the gels out. But I didn't put my gels in the flow gel bottle.
I like the duration of the 30 minutes. I think that gives me enough space between gel or whatever the nutrition is. But then if you only say have one gel or one chew, that's 30 grams. So it's going to be like a gel and something else.
I think the good thing about the Northern Traverse route as well, especially once you're sort of out of the Lake District, is it's broken up with gates, styles, bit of walking. So you become less, you don't know what time it is. You don't even know what day it is, Gary. But you get to a gate and you're having to fiddle with the latch and you're walking away from the gate and you eat something, you do a pee, you eat something. It becomes a bit more sort of part of the trail. You're going uphill, you're chatting to somebody.
But yeah, I don't want to be eating every 20 minutes if possible, but then that just keeps the maths. I don't have to think. My watch beeps, I take a gel, a chew, and then that's your kind of 90 grams, plus whatever you're getting through your drink too.
Gary, you haven't got anything else to do. You got,
True.
2.5, 3 days to fill.
Well, head over to www.precisionhydration.com and don't forget patrons get a whopping 20% off. But if you would like to try Precision Fuel and Hydration, then you are in luck. Use the code T2026 for 15% off your first purchase.
We thought we'd close the show this bit with a little bit, but as we've both done races and then needed to fast track our recovery, I thought we'd talk a little bit about recovery hacks that we've both developed.
Yeah.
By the way, you can't hack recovery, but this is just to make you feel a bit better. I think a lot of recoveries, if you feel like you're doing something to make yourself feel better, it's really helpful as well. And I did not do this as well after the recce weekend. I didn't realize how tired I'd be. So I learned. And after the race on Saturday, all I've done for 48 hours is focus selfishly on myself and recovery, and I feel so much better. So I thought I'd start with the science and then I'll ask you what you do, because...
Well, yeah, I'm a bit uncomfortable because none of mine are based in science.
This is just like what... And everybody's different, so nobody's going to put yours in, laminate yours and put it on their fridge, remember. I wanted to talk a little bit about like perhaps why you need to recover, what's happened to your legs, what's happened to your body. So because I always think understanding is a good help for why you don't then start running straight away. We all know if you do a hilly course and if you're not used to downhill, it's that eccentric, the lengthening of the muscles, which is an absolute killer, which gives you the DOMs. And those tiny little muscle tears, the kids get really upset when they get DOMs. And I'm like, it's just tiny little muscle tears. And they're like, oh no, if we lost our muscles. The biggest thing I think is glycogen depletion, and it's why both of us are like talking about our nutrition so much and like trying to shove in as much carbs as possible, because we want to try and not get into that horrible state of like nothing left in the muscles. You basically have about 90 minutes worth of glycogen stored, but I think because I didn't taper into this race as well, I didn't have as much as that, and that's why I forced the carbs down as well. So if you're going into something not fully tapered as well, you need to be aware that you're going to have more DOMs as well, because you're going to burn through your carbs, or you haven't got enough carbs as well. And so basically everything gets a little bit sticky, so your muscles don't contract as well. And that's why as well you might feel really, that I think also that's why nothing to do with my age, why I felt quite sore after the races. And just a big inflammatory response as well. The fluid, old lady ankles, everything is like just gets stuck on my lower limbs, and it irritates everything. And that's why also sometimes you can feel okay the next day, and then you can almost feel even worse 48 hours later. And that's why I'm a big believer as well, as about moving the legs, not running, not impact, but if you've got a cross training option, that can often make you feel really good.
We don't like doing it, but if we do record on a Monday and we've both done a race or a big weekend, we are cooked.
There's nothing.
It's not
The brain
work.
just,
it's not our best
it's
work.
never our best work, is it? And I don't think we take that into account enough as well, as the tiredness from the brain and muscles having to work together. Electrolytes, I forced down that drink, even though I actually didn't feel thirsty, Gary. I was like, I've got to keep drinking. I've got to get the sodium down, because cramping and soreness is a lot due to dehydration. And I was massively dehydrated. Then the next 24 hours, your lips can't be away from a nipple.
Yeah.
You need that water bottle really close to you. And you did really well with your electrolyte in the car on the way back. Always have a bottle of electrolyte in your car. So that is why you might feel quite stiff and tired after just a big week or a big session or a race. And I think knowing that there's damage has been done, but it's good damage as long as you then note it and let it recover and let it refuel. What do you do? Like, let's use your Saltburn Marathon, because that's sort of fresh. Let's say 48 hours afterwards to like promote that recovery.
Well, the first thing I'll do, I'll eat to the end of any run, training run or a race. Even it's very tempting on Sunday. It was miserable, filthy. I was cold. I really didn't want the admin of getting a gel out or a chew, whatever it was. But yeah, if you keep fueling right to the bitter end, I think that'll set you up well. Keep moving. Just like you said, that long drive home, oh my goodness me, that is not the best thing to do. And that would look like dog walks. I'll go on the treadmill. I think I did an incline hike on the treadmill afterwards. Keep it moving, but just keep that impact down. I love compression tights. I don't actually know if there's any science in it.
I love a bit of compression too.
I suppose they do just give you that little bit of support on your legs, which you wouldn't normally get. I have a little mobility routine that my physio gave me. Goodness me, it could be about a decade ago. I still pretty much do that every couple of times a week. I eat like a champ. Protein shakes, real food is best, obviously, but if you need the convenience and a protein shake, electrolytes, that is something that was probably knowledge going into the Dragon's Back race after a call with the Prison Fuel and Hydration guys, actually. I would have always had some kind of a drink with carbs and electrolytes before a race, but to cross the line and smash 500 millilitres of whatever the concentration of electrolyte was, that's something that I've done only since then. A lot of these things are subjective because there's lots of other things going on in your life too, but just to do these little safety procedures just to minimise the damage. Booze does not serve me well at all, and definitely not after a big effort. And just sensible decisions. I love a nap. I love a sleep if you can do that. Listen to your body. Maybe a bit more diligent with the supplements. I don't take a huge amount of supplements. I take a multivit and
Here comes the big list.
No. Well, I take a multivit religiously every day. I'll take a multivit and a strong vitamin D3. I think that's just something I picked up on the podcast over the years. And maybe I'll be more diligent with the collagen. I dip in and out of magnesium as and when I remember to take it. This is not really advice and this doesn't serve you well, but you just might not be bothered about any of this. Ultimately, you do you. This is what kind of I do and it works best for me.
Some people can walk away from big efforts and be fine. Step away from comparison. You see people coming like off the back of the spine and they're running 10 days later, and some people have not even gone for a run yet. And listen, your body and how your body reacts as it gets older, and how your body reacts between every single time is different. So I think it's good to know why, and it's also good to have a little think like what worked last time. I think the biggest thing for me, like Sunday, I ate 5 meals. I just like eat constant. Oven goes back on. Let's put some chips in. Like never more.
Never be hungry.
And you're starving when you've done a big effort as well. Like I don't even call them meals. It's basically you just need like 5 meals, 6 meals a day. I wish I'd taken some cereal up to bed with me, because Saturday night we went to bed and then I woke up at like 1 and I was starving, but I was nowhere. I was getting out of bed and going down the stairs sideways, backwards. I wish I'd taken a box of Rice Krispies and milk up with me. Don't do anything that doesn't need doing. I think, when we finish big things or when you're recovering from big things, you can be like, right, got to get back. I've put all this stuff. I do this too. Stuff to the side I'm going to do after this. Not everything can wait. Teach your kids, if you've got kids or a dog, teach them how to put pizza on when they get older. Not if they're 6 months. That's a little early because the oven gloves won't fit on their hands. But one of the greatest things, I can lie on the sofa and be like, kids, turn the oven on, choose a pizza out of the freezer. Which one do you want? Put it in. Wham, bam. Yeah. Sloppy parenting is the way forward. Let everything fall by the wayside. And my biggest thing is probably the ability to cross train in recovery, especially with the older athlete as well now. I was so happy yesterday. No way was I going to run yesterday. But on my bike, could get my heart rate up after a little few 10, 15 minutes of like, I'll get my heart rate up. I could get a little bit of a sweat on. So much more productive than hobbling around a field. So having a little bit of cross training in your back pocket is huge. Don't be scared to lean on that lever and don't think it's not productive, because I think as we went through like all the muscle damage you've got, the dryness of your muscles, you need to lube it all back up again. And I think being able to cross train is not slacking. It's good.
It's miserable, though, isn't it? If you force that run, if you don't lean on cross training, whatever it is. But sometimes, in the past, goodness me, I'll have forced myself out on a run. Monday, even. Sad times. I love those easy meals. Tuesdays and Thursdays are really time pressed in our house. Lisa swims, George goes to Mai Tai. I like to run. It's like soup and toasties. That's what we do on those days. Just to
yum. Is that what you had parsnip soup?
No, it wasn't my parsnip soup.
Good. I'm more of a tomato-based sort of girl myself.
I'd never do this, and I love the sound of it. The Epsom salt baths. Oh, it is.
The only thing is that we've got a bath. Our bathroom does have a bath, but it takes forever, Gary, to fill up. It's got no power, the water. So
I'm going to say, I thought you had a huge bath.
No, it's like a sort of like, and then you go, I'm like, right, fold some laundry whilst it's happening, come back in, and there's like an inch. And you're like, well, you've got to get in. Yeah, it's not. I think if I had loads of money, or if I was going to like move house, it's something I would invest in like one of those baths that had like the jets and stuff and handles on either side. Anyway, if you're recovering or you got a mate that's recovering, give yourself time, patience. And it's amazing the body is an incredible thing. If you give it the food, the sleep, the rest, within 48, 72 hours, you're going to feel so much better. And that is where the fitness happens. Lying on the sofa, eating chips, watching curling, you're getting fitter. It's incredible.
February's competition is supported by our friends Precision Fuel and Hydration. One lucky listener could win a £250 hamper full of Precision Fuel and Hydration goodies and a one-to-one video consultation with a sports scientist to nail your nutrition strategy. To be in with a chance of winning, pop over to Instagram, like this post and tag a friend in the comments, a friend who you think could really benefit from some fuel and hydration help. The person who does the tagging will be entered in the competition. So if you're tagged and you like the sound of this, then you need to tag somebody else too to be entered. Have I kind of confused everything, or does that make sense? Share the post to your stories and follow TN Trails and Precision Fuel and Hydration over on Instagram. This competition closes on midnight of the 28th of February 2026. The competition is for Instagram only. One winner will be contacted by direct message.
That is an amazing prize. Thank you for tuning in If you're still running, kudos. If you're still driving, pull over, get yourself some thigh snacks. And if you're in the gym, go on, pop another 5 kg on that bar. You can do it. Thanks for listening. Share the episode, share the pod, share the love. Pop over to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and subscribe, or even consider becoming one of our awesome patrons. Thanks to X Miles, Precision Fuel Hydration, Phoenix Light UK and Harrier Trail Running for sponsoring the show. Here the discount code TNT5 for Phoenix, T2026 for Precision Fuel Hydration and T10 for Harrier Trail Running. Thanks to our partners and patrons too. We couldn't do this without you and your ongoing support.
I had to take a few kgs off the bar. Been kind of 2 weeks. 1 taper, 1 recovery. Then I went yesterday.
I'll do my squats later. And normally I'd squat like pretty much my body weight. And I'll do half of that tonight. It's all about the movement. Actually, what the limit of your muscles is right then. That's still strength work. You're still doing good. You're saying muscles, you need to work.
I've added leg extensions. I want sexier quads for those photographs.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah, a little bit more. Now is the time to really up those weights. That's a great idea, Gary.
Let the trail or tarmac rise to meet you, and the wind always be on your back. Be kind to future self. Breathe and believe. Keep your shield high, and if all else fails, chase the ball. My name is Gary Thwaites.
And I'm Eddie Sutton.
And that was the Tea and Trails podcast.